Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. I am beyond excited for today. We're talking to a man who literally wrote the rules of the world's most popular sport. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
My name is Ebenezer Morley. Most people know me as the father of modern football. I was the one who gathered the clubs together and drafted the very first laws of the game for the Football Association back in 1863. Many refer to the game as soccer.
The father of football. That is a heavy title. When and where were you born, Ebenezer?
I was born on August 16th, 1831, in Hull, Yorkshire, right there in the United Kingdom.
And what was your given name at birth?
It was Ebenezer Morley.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
Well, I was named after my father, who was also Ebenezer Morley. He was a congregational minister. The name Cobb comes from my mother, Hannah Maria Cobb. It was a common tradition back then to keep the mother's maiden name alive in the children.
That makes sense. What was your hometown of Hull like growing up?
Hull was a bustling port city. It was full of energy, ships coming and going, and a very strong sense of community. It was a place where you learned the value of hard work and staying connected to your neighbors.
What was your family life like?
Oh, it was a full house. I was the oldest of 4 surviving children. Being the son of a minister, our home was very principled, but also very warm. My father eventually moved the whole family down toward London in the 1850s.
What kind of kid were you?
I was a very active boy. I couldn't stay still. I had a deep passion for sports, especially cricket and football, right from the start. I was always the one trying to organize the neighborhood games.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
With my father being a clergyman, there was always that path, but I found myself drawn to the logic and structure of the law. I dreamed of being someone who could bring order to things, which I suppose led me straight into becoming a solicitor.
What was your first job?
I started out as an articled clerk back in Hull. It was the first step on the long road to being admitted to the Law Society, which I achieved by 1854.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
I wouldn't say I felt different in a grand sense, but I certainly had a lower tolerance for chaos than most. When I watched football in those early days, it was just a wild, disorganized scuffle. I realized I had the unique drive to actually sit down and give it a framework.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Writing a simple letter to the Bell's Life newspaper in 1863. I just suggested that football needed a governing body and a set of unified rules. I didn't realize that one letter would lead to a meeting at the Freemasons Tavern and change the world of sports forever.
That was definitely your biggest break. What were your biggest struggles before that success?
The struggle was really the lack of consistency. Every school and club played by their own rules. You'd show up for a match and spend half the time arguing about whether you could carry the ball or hack someone's shins. It was frustrating to see a beautiful game held back by a lack of cooperation.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. I was a sportsman through and through. If I wasn't on the pitch, I was on the water rowing. I had too much energy to ever quit.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel were essential to your success?
Discipline and documentation. Being a solicitor, I was very precise with my notes. I drafted those 23 original rules at my home in Barnes with the same care I'd use for a legal contract. That attention to detail is what made the rules stick.
What job would you have had if the fame of being the FA founder never happened?
I would have happily remained a quiet London solicitor. I also spent many years as a justice of the peace and a member of the Surrey County Council. I enjoyed public service and the law immensely.
How did relationships change after the FA became a success?
It brought me into contact with so many fascinating people from all walks of life. I always believed football should be for everyone, not just the elite. It was wonderful to see people from different backgrounds coming together over a single set of rules.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
Some might have thought I was a bit of a patrician or too rigid because of my legal background. But truly, I just wanted the game to be less brutal and more skillful. I even thought hacking the front of the leg should stay in at first, though I was eventually outvoted on that.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My father. His work as a minister taught me about leadership and the importance of serving a community.
What was life like in your final years?
I lived a very long, full life in Barnes. I remained active in the community, serving on the Surrey County Council until I was nearly 90 years old. I was also a conservator of Barnes Common, so I spent a lot of time looking after the local land.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
Mostly my duties as a justice of the peace and my council work. Even at an advanced age, I wanted to be useful to my neighbors in Barnes.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on November 20th, 1924, at my home in Richmond, Surrey. I was 93 years old.
What happened?
It was complications from pneumonia. At 93, the body eventually decides it's time for a rest.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
Most people associate me only with football, but I was a massive rowing enthusiast. I founded the Barnes and Mortlake Regatta and was the secretary for it for nearly 20 years. I even rowed for the London Rowing Club at Henley.
What was your favorite food?
I always had a fondness for a good, hearty English roast. Nothing beats a Sunday dinner after a long walk on the common.
What was your favorite book?
Being a man of the law, I spent much of my time with legal texts, but I always enjoyed a good history book. Understanding where we came from helps us build a better future.
Did you have any known rivalries?
There were certainly heated debates during those first FA meetings. The Blackheath Club eventually left the association because they wanted to keep the more violent aspects like hacking and carrying the ball, which went on to become rugby. We didn't see eye to eye, but it worked out for both sports in the end.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Find a way to bring people together. Success isn't just about your own goals. It's about creating something that benefits the whole community. And of course, always play by the rules.
What a legend! From drafting the rules in his study to seeing the sport take over the world, Ebenezer Morley truly changed history. Thank you again for joining us. And that wraps up another conversation from beyond the grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.